Everyone, today you will be learning quadratic equation using completing the square. So listen to our discussion carefully and don't forget to take down notes.
Mathematics Online.
Alright, today we will be discussing solving quadratic equation using completing the square. Alright, now we go back to what is a quadratic equation. Quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c is equals to 0. Now what if we're trying to complete the square? When we do completing the square, alright, when we do completing the square, we divide a to all the terms inside the equation. So therefore the result will become x squared plus b over a x plus c over a is equals to 0. So means to say we divide coefficient a to all the terms in the equation. Alright, so that would mean by quadratic equation using completing the squares. Now to do that, we will follow certain steps. Alright, here are the steps. I'm going to share it with you. Okay, number 1, divide all terms by the coefficient of x squared. Okay, number 2, move the number or the third term to the right side of the equation. Alright, so that would be our step 2. Now we go for step 3. Complete the square, which means to say you have to apply to the power of 2 on the left side of the equation and balance this by adding the same value to the right side of the equation. Okay, so whatever you add on the left side, you are going to do that the same on the right side of the equation. Now we go to the fourth one. Alright, take the square, take the square root on both sides of the equation. Next we go for the fifth one. Subtract the number that remains left side of the equation. To find the value of x. Alright, so these are the 5 steps when we're trying to do completing the square for quadratic equation. All right, so remember there's 5 steps. So let's have a example that we are going to apply the steps. Okay, now we have number 1, solve x squared plus 4x plus 1 is equals to 0. Now we're trying to complete the square because we can't find any factors that would give us 4x in the middle with it, which is 1 on the third term. Alright, so now we follow the steps. Okay, we do step 1. This step 1 will not be applied to this because there is no coefficient for x squared, so we don't use step 1. Alright, skip step 1. Alright, skip this step because x squared has the coefficient of 1. Okay, next we proceed to step 2. Step 2, move the number term to the right side, or we move the third term to the right side. Alright, so we move the third term to the right side. Alright, so therefore if we have x squared plus 4x plus 1 is equals to 0, we move the third, this one third, to the right side. So therefore we have now x squared plus 4x is equals to 0 minus 1. Okay, next we proceed to step 3. Alright, complete the square. Step 3, complete the square. Alright, complete the square to the right side and to the left side. So how do we complete the square? For example, now we have the new equation, which is x squared plus 4x is equals to negative 1. What you do is divide the middle term by 2. Okay, divide the middle term by 2 because you will have, alright, that's the rule for completing the square. Divide the middle term by 2, this one here, divide by 2 to find the new third term of the equation. Alright, so we divide that by 2. So therefore we have now, if you're going to rewrite the equation, it becomes x squared plus 4x, alright, plus what, 4 divided by 2, which is equals to 2, yes, which is equals to 2, and raise it to the power of 2. So therefore we have here now 2 to the power of 2 is equals to negative 1. Alright, plus 2 to the power of 2. So whatever we add here, we add it on the other side. Alright, we add it on the other side. This one is here. Okay, so therefore our new equation now becomes x squared plus 4x plus 4 is equals to negative 1 plus 4. We simplify further, it becomes x squared plus 4x plus 4 is equals to positive 3. Alright, so that is our step 3. And then we simplify further, we have to complete the square for this. Yeah, then we complete the square. So we have here now x plus 2 squared is equals to positive 3. Okay, so now we go to step 4. Alright, step 4, take the square root. take the square root of the right side and the left side of the equation. Alright, so we have to take the square root now. So we have now the new would be x plus 2 to the power of 2 is equals to 3. Now we take the square root of this, alright, so that we can cancel out square root and 2. Yes, and then what's left with us is x plus 2 is equals to positive negative square root of 3. Yes, and now for step 5, solve for x. Yes, step 5 is solve for the value of x. So therefore, if we have x plus 2 is equals to positive square root of 3, then we move 2 to the other side. So therefore, it becomes x is equals to 2, negative 2, positive square root of 3. Now what if we have x plus 2 is equals to negative square root of 3? Still, we move 2 to the other side. So therefore, we have x is equals to negative 2 minus square root of 3. So these are the value of our x. Yes, so these are the value of our x. Okay, so this one here and this one here. Alright, so this is following the 5 steps on how to do quadratic equation. Okay, this is how we do quadratic equation. Now, alright, so we do here also. Alright, so we add it on both sides. Okay, I'm going to write it here. Both sides of the equation. Alright, so let's review. Alright, let's review. Okay, now quadratic equation, you have the formula, alright, ax squared plus bx plus c, that's quadratic. Now when we try to complete the square, the equation will change. The equation will become x squared plus b over ax plus c over a. So the equation have changed. Now why it happens? Because we divide both coefficient to all the terms in the equation. Now to do that, we follow certain steps. Yeah, step 1, divide all terms by the coefficient. Okay, remember the word divide all terms by the coefficient of x squared. Coefficient, so the number before x squared. Next is move. Okay, step 2, move. Alright, move the number or the third term to the right side of the equation. So means to say you have to cross it to the other side. Next, the third step is you have to complete the square. Okay, on the left side and the right side of the equation. On the left side, and balance it by adding the same to the right side of the equation. Okay, so that is our third step. Now we go for the fourth step. Now fourth step is, alright, the fourth step is take the square root. Alright, take the square root. Okay, take the square root of both sides of the equation. Square root. Next, step 5, we subtract the number, or we add the number that remains, so that we will be able to find the value of x. So that those are the 5 steps on how to do solving it using completing the square. So we have here an example: x squared plus 4x plus 1 is equals to 0. Then we do the 5 steps, then we skip step 1 because there's the coefficient of x is 1. Now we proceed to 2. We move. Alright, look at this. We move it to the other side. Alright, we move it to the other side. So our new equation becomes x squared plus 4x is equals to negative 1. So we do step 3, we complete the square. How do we do that? We divide the middle term by 2. Right? Divide the middle term by 2 to have a new third. So we have to distribute it. When you add it here, you add it also on this side. So add it on both sides of the equation. Then we simplify. Alright? The term here is then we simplify. Okay? Now we go to step 4. Take the square root. Alright? Step 4, take the square root. So we square this side here and this side here so that we will be able to eliminate the power of 2. Now we have now x plus 2 is equals to positive negative 3, square root of 3. Now we proceed, solve for the value of x. Now what we solve is, we assume that the x, that square root of 3 is positive. We assume that square root of 3 is negative. We just move 2 to the other side and we simplified, and we will be able to get the two values of x. So when we write that, so x is equals to negative 2 so the square root of 3, and x is equals to negative 2 positive square root of 3. Okay, so that's how to do completing the square by following the 5 steps. Now let's have another example here. Alright, okay, let's have another example here. Solve. Alright, x squared minus 6x minus 3 is equals to 0. Guys, remember, we only do completing the square once the third term and the middle term, there is nothing in common there. You can't add, you can't multiply, so that we will be able to complete the factoring. But in order for us to do that, we do completing the square. Okay, now we do solution here, then we just go and proceed without looking at the steps. So we have here x squared minus 6x minus 3 is equals to 0. First thing we do, move this to the other side. So therefore we have now x squared minus 6x is equals to 0 plus 3. We simplify, x squared minus 6x is equals to 3. And then we divide this, alright? We divide this by 2. Alright, so therefore the answer would be x squared minus 6x. What is this? Here, what is 6 divided by 2 is equals to 3. So therefore this is plus, okay, negative 3 squared. Because negative 6 divided by 2 is equals to negative 3. Is equal to 3 plus, the same thing we add here negative 3 squared. So same thing, we add this and we add it on the other side. Then we simplify further. We have x squared minus 6x plus 9 is equals to 3 plus 9. Yeah, okay. Next, we simplify again. X squared minus 6x plus 9 is equals to 12. And then we factor this one out here. Alright, factor, so therefore we have now this x, and then we use that, right, x and then negative 3 squared is equals to 12. Okay, we factored that one out. Next is we do now square root. Okay, we apply square root here and then square root here, so therefore, so that we can eliminate this and this. So therefore our new equation will become x minus 3 is equals to positive negative square root of 12. Alright, so if you're going to solve for the value of x, it's either x is equal, x minus 3 is equals to positive square root of 12, or x minus 3 is equals to negative square root of 12, and then you simplify. Alright, so we move 3 to the other side, so it becomes now x is equals to positive 3 plus square root of 12. And here we have x. We move again this one to the other side, so x is equals to positive 3 minus square root of 12. Alright, so when we simplify that, you can answer it in decimal or in fraction, but that is the value of your 2x's. Alright, so this is with the example x squared minus 6x minus 3 is equals to 0. Okay, so I hope this one is clear for the use of completing the square. Remember, guys, what is important is you know that in between steps, you know that in between steps from this one to this side here, you are going to do that so that you will find the third term, and then when you add it on the first equation, you have to add it on the right side as well, and then you simplify. Okay, you always simplify. Okay, so I hope this one is clear. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'll be very much willing to answer all your questions. So this wrap up our discussion about solving quadratic equation using completing the square. All right, thank you.